Donetsk region, May 2025. A Russian armored column advanced through a settlement near Pokrovsk, 5 turtle tanks covered in welded metal cages, thinking the improvised armor made them invincible against Ukrainian drones. Behind them, BMPs carrying infantry, standard Russian mechanized assault formation. What they didn't know, a Ukrainian Leopard 2 from the 33rd Separate Mechanized Brigade sat concealed inside a building, using the structure itself for cover, watching through thermal optics as the column entered the kill zone. The Leopard emerged, not charging heroically, not leading a breakthrough, just appearing long enough to fire, precision shots destroying the first turtle tank, then the second, the third. While maneuvering, the tank crew fired with precision, striking at least 5 enemy armored vehicles, according to the OSUV Kortitsia Telegram channel. Some were hit multiple times, resulting in the destruction of the entire column, including the personnel it was transporting. Then the Leopard disappeared back into concealment before Russian artillery could respond. The entire engagement, maybe 90 seconds, the entire column annihilated. If you want to see how necessity breeds innovation and how Ukraine is teaching NATO nations lessons about modern armored warfare, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. This tactical revolution is reshaping tank doctrine globally. Here's where Ukraine's Leopard strategy becomes revolutionary. Traditional Western doctrine, taught at armor schools from Fort Benning to Munster, emphasizes maneuver warfare. Tanks mass together, break through enemy lines, exploit breakthroughs with speed and firepower. Ukraine tried that. During the 2023 Rabotino counteroffensive, Leopards led assaults according to Western doctrine. Russian Ka-52 helicopters, anti-tank guided missiles, and swarms of FPV drones destroyed them in horrifying numbers. According to Forbes reporting from May 2025, Ukraine lost over 1,000 tanks to Russian drone attacks, a casualty rate that forced complete doctrinal reimagination. General Oleksandr Pivnenko, commander of Ukraine's National Guard, acknowledged the shift when his units began receiving Leopard tanks. They combine high mobility, firepower, and reliability, which are critical on the modern battlefield. But the critical part wasn't what he said. It was what Ukrainian planners recognized. Tanks must operate differently to survive. Forbes documented the new doctrine. Tank crews must remain extremely cautious, concealing vehicles in barns, garages, or specialized bunkers, emerging only briefly to strike before rapidly retreating to cover. This isn't cowardice. This is adaptation to a battlefield where Russian drones number over 1,300 monthly, sometimes exceeding 2,000, often deployed in swarms with decoys overwhelming Ukrainian air defenses. According to National Security Journal analysis from May 2025, the 33rd Brigade's ambush near Pokrovsk exemplified the perfected doctrine. By using the settlement buildings as concealment, the Leopard engaged the column with direct fire, all the while using the cover that the buildings near its position provided a significant tactical advantage. The tank wasn't exposed on open ground. It operated from inside urban structures, using buildings as armor supplements and firing positions simultaneously. This creates impossible tactical problems for Russian forces. How do you assault a position when the defending tank literally disappears between shots? How do you call artillery on a target that only appears for 90 seconds, then vanishes into a barn? How do you swarm drones against armor you cannot locate until it's already shooting? But concealment alone doesn't win wars. Ukraine added a second layer of genius that German engineers never anticipated. Inflatable decoys that mimic Leopard 2 thermal signatures, radar reflections, and visual profiles so convincingly that Russian forces waste expensive munitions on targets worth maybe $1,000. According to Bulgarian military reporting from January 2025, Ukrainian company Inflatable, originally making toys and custom models, transformed production to create military decoys engineered to fool modern surveillance technology. The preparation footage shows mock-ups of Leopard 2 A6 main battle tanks that look photographically real from reconnaissance drone altitudes. The strategic effect is devastating. According to defense analysis, reports indicate that Russian forces have sometimes destroyed 140% more HIMARS than Ukraine has received, hinting at the effectiveness of these deception tactics. Think about that number. Russian generals report destroying more American rocket systems than America ever delivered because they're shooting at inflatable balloons that cost $1,500 while real HIMARS worth $5 million hide elsewhere. For Leopard 2s, the calculus is even more favorable. A Russian Kornet anti-tank missile costs $30,000 to $40,000. A precision-guided artillery shell, $50,000 plus. An Iskander ballistic missile, used against what Russian forces thought was an Iris-T air defense system, but was actually a sophisticated mock-up, approximately $3 million. When one Iskander destroys an inflatable decoy instead of a real $8 million Leopard 2 A6, Ukraine achieves a 2,999 to 1 cost exchange ratio. According to the analysis, these decoys have also contributed to information warfare. The confusion they create can lead to misinformation or misdirection, affecting the enemy's strategic planning and operational decisions. If Russian commanders believe they've destroyed 30 Leopard 2s, but Ukraine still has 70 operational, Russian tactical planning collapses. They allocate insufficient anti-tank resources, underestimate Ukrainian armored capabilities, and walk into ambushes thinking Ukrainian tank forces are depleted. But here's what truly impressed German defense officials: how Ukrainian mechanics solved maintenance challenges German engineers thought were insurmountable. The Leopard 2's sophisticated design, world-class when supported by Bundeswehr logistics chains, becomes problematic when operating 1,500 kilometers from German repair facilities. According to early battlefield reports, Ukrainian forces struggled with Leopard maintenance. Complex systems requiring specialized training, difficult to repair in field conditions, often requiring transport to Western Ukraine or even Poland for major work. The solution? Ukrainian mechanics didn't wait for German technicians. They learned the systems through necessity, improvised repairs using available materials, and established forward maintenance workshops that keep Leopards operational under conditions German doctrine never anticipated. The 33rd Brigade's sustained Leopard operations near Pokrovsk prove this works. Tanks conducting ambush operations require constant maintenance, track wear from urban maneuvering, gun barrel stress from high firing rates, electronics strained by counter-drone EW systems. Ukrainian crews aren't sending damaged Leopards to Germany for repairs. They're fixing them locally, rapidly, and getting them back into rotation fast enough to maintain operational tempo. According to defense analysts studying Ukrainian adaptations, the tank crews must remain extremely cautious, concealing vehicles in barns, garages, or specialized bunkers. That means Leopards aren't just fighting, they're being maintained in the same concealed positions where they operate, creating integrated, high-maintenance strike positions that Russian forces cannot target because they cannot locate. Now let's examine why Ukrainian Leopard tactics specifically devastate Russia's latest innovation: turtle tanks, covered in welded metal cages and improvised armor meant to defeat FPV drones. According to National Security Journal reporting from May 2025, these modifications create critical vulnerabilities that Ukrainian tankers exploit ruthlessly. The turtle tank's cage armor, compromised visibility, and turret rotation made them vulnerable in close quarters combat. Russian crews sit inside metal boxes with limited sight lines, slow turret traverse, and reduced situational awareness, perfect targets for Leopard crews using advanced optics and fire control systems. The Pokrovsk ambush exemplified this perfectly. According to the analysis, the presence of Leopard tanks changed the tactical balance, forcing Russians to react to the heavily armored targets rather than focusing exclusively on infantry and lighter vehicles. But Russian turtle tanks couldn't react fast enough. Their welded cages blocked peripheral vision. Turret rotation speed, already sluggish on T-72 platforms, was further degraded by added weight. By the time Russian crews identified the threat, Ukrainian Leopard gunners had already fired. The Leopard 2's 120mm smoothbore gun, combined with advanced fire control, creates what German engineers call first-round hit probability, the ability to hit targets on the first shot at range while moving. According to Spanish training officer Captain Contreras, who trained Ukrainian crews, the Ukrainian tankers noted the superior capacities of the Leopard 2 tanks compared with those they had used before and those fielded by the Russian invaders. That superiority manifests in ambush scenarios, where Ukrainian gunners fire 2 or 3 precision shots before Russian crews even locate the threat. By the time Russian tankers identify the Leopard's position, it's already withdrawing into concealment. According to the Osuv-Khortytsia analysis of the Pokrovsk engagement, some were hit multiple times, meaning Ukrainian gunners achieved multiple hits per target, ensuring complete destruction before repositioning. But perhaps the most strategically significant development is who's receiving Leopards now. According to Forbes' May 2025 reporting, Ukrainian National Guard units, traditionally infantry-focused internal security forces, are now operating German main battle tanks as part of a major tactical overhaul. General Pivnenko's statement reveals why. They have already proven their effectiveness in combat conditions. They combine high mobility, firepower, and reliability, which are critical on the modern battlefield. The National Guard isn't using Leopards for breakthrough operations or territorial conquest. They're using them for defensive ambushes, urban warfare, and mobile firepower support, exactly the missions Ukrainian Doctrine optimized for. This creates force multiplication through specialization. Regular army brigades like the 33rd Mechanized can focus on offensive operations using Leopards for maneuver warfare when opportunities arise. National Guard units provide persistent defensive coverage, conducting ambush operations, protecting key sectors, and creating armor tripwires that punish Russian advances automatically. The doctrinal flexibility this creates is extraordinary. When Russian forces mass for assault, they face National Guard Leopards conducting ambushes from concealment. When Ukrainian forces identify breakthroughs, regular Army Leopards exploit weaknesses. Same platform, different employment, optimized for specific tactical situations. According to 1945's 2026 Tank Army Analysis, survivability now depends on tactics, protection, and integration with drones, EW, and artillery rather than brute armor alone. Ukrainian Leopard doctrine exemplifies this perfectly, using concealment for protection, drones for reconnaissance, EW for counter-drone defense, and artillery to suppress Russian forces between Leopard strikes. So why has Ukraine's Leopard strategy surprised German defense officials who designed the tank? Because Bundeswehr doctrine never anticipated the operational environment Ukraine operates in. Drone-saturated, artillery-dominated, urban-focused warfare where tanks operate individually or in small groups rather than company-strength formations. German Leopard doctrine emphasizes mobility and breakthrough, massing armor for penetration operations across open terrain, exploiting breakthroughs with speed, conducting mobile defense when necessary. Ukrainian doctrine inverted this, using concealment as primary defense, treating mobility as a tool for repositioning between ambushes, sacrificing breakthrough capability for survivability. The decoy employment particularly impressed German observers because Bundeswehr never considered mass production of inflatable Leopard replicas as force multipliers. When Ukrainian forces demonstrated that decoys waste Russian munitions while preserving real tanks, German defense planners recognized battlefield innovation exceeding peacetime R&D. The maintenance adaptations proved Ukrainian mechanics could sustain Leopard operations without German logistics pipelines, something Bundeswehr doctrine assumed impossible. The National Guard integration showed Ukrainian military institutions adapting faster than NATO bureaucracies could plan. Most significantly, Ukrainian Leopard crews developed ambush tactics that work against Russian armor, drones, and artillery simultaneously, something no NATO army has battlefield tested. When German officers study the Pokrovsk engagement, where one Leopard destroyed an entire Russian column, they're studying tactics German crews have never executed under fire. Ukraine's Leopard 2 strategy is pure genius, not because it follows NATO doctrine perfectly, but because it doesn't. After losing 1,000 tanks trying to fight according to Western manuals, Ukrainian tankers wrote a new manual: concealment over mobility, ambush over breakthrough, decoys over numbers, and field maintenance over factory perfection. With Leopards hiding in barns until the perfect moment, inflatable decoys wasting millions in Russian munitions, ambush tactics devastating turtle tanks, National Guard units mastering defensive operations, and mechanics sustaining fleets under impossible conditions, Ukraine has proven something German engineers never tested. The Leopard 2 might be even more lethal when employed contrary to design intent. That's not just effective, that's revolutionary. And even Germany is learning from it. Do you think battlefield necessity produces better tactical innovation than peacetime doctrine development? Share your thoughts in the comments. For more analysis on Ukraine's tactical revolutions, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching.